my god, hell nah, what did I just watch? I promise you on everything I love, Weapons is the real freakiest movie you can watch this weekend. And is it because we got Silver Surfer, Wong, Thanos, and Ezekiel staying in the movie before I got sanity? Yes, but also because this is one of the greatest theater experiences I've had in a really long time. Like, dog, jaw on floor, tears of joy and laughter, jump scares, Like, trust me, this is a movie that you need to experience in a theater to have that shared cinematic experience. And it's a film that you're gonna want to take other people to go see or watch with them just so you can see what their reaction is. And if you couldn't already tell, I just got back from watching Zach Cregger's newest movie, Weapons, and I gotta say, between this and Barbarian, that man don't miss. I'm gonna be giving you my honest, spoiler-free thoughts of the movie, so don't worry, there's not gonna be any spoilers. But either way, me and you know what we gotta do. We gotta talk about it. And going into Weapons, I was really excited for a number of different reasons. Number one was the fact that Jordan Peele was so enamored with Zach Cregger's script that when he lost the opportunity to produce this movie, he fired 2 of his managers. And another reason was because of Zach Cregger himself, who directed Barbarian. Which, by the way, if you haven't seen Barbarian, what are you doing with your life? Put this on right now. I think it's on Max. And fuck it, while you're there, throw on Malignant too, because it's got the same vibe. By the way, Zach Cregger, who also starred in Miss March. So it's safe to say that I was pretty excited and hyped going into this film. And even all the trailers and posters gave you little crumbs on what the story could be about. And the basic premise is, one night at 2:17 a.m., 17 kids from one classroom got up, left, and never returned. They out here running like Naruto. So that right there already had me intrigued. And dog, when I tell you that you are not going to be able to guess what happens in this film, I promise you, you're not going to be able to guess what happens in this film. And I really love the non-linear approach to the storytelling. I've seen a lot of people compare it to like Magnolia, but to me it's more like Trainspotting or Crash, and really like Barbarian, just amped up to another degree. Zach Cregger builds this nice mystery by delivering little bits of details and puzzle pieces for you to try to put together, and he's not hand-holding you throughout this film. It's not spoon-fed to you. You're trying to figure this shit out by yourself. The story bobs and weaves between different perspectives that are all connected to this very mysterious event. And I like him toying with that. You know, sometimes it can kind of feel exhausting at points. There were some times when I was like, man, I just want to figure it out, because the mystery is so damn good that I was getting tired of having to retread other events through other perspectives. But it did make me appreciate it because he was able to play with genre a little bit. Like, is this movie, it's being touted as a horror movie, but really it's more like a mystery thriller, dark comedy, and other elements that are kind of spoilery that I don't want to mention here. Like, you need to go into this movie blind. I don't want to tell you too much, so I'm going to be dancing around like what the actual mystery is, because trust me, it's something you got to experience for the first time yourself. It's all of those things I mentioned before, dark, gritty, but more importantly, it's relevant. And by that I mean in its themes, it dives deeper into human nature and really what makes us tick when we're presented with a situation like this. Very much in the fight or flight sense. And it really feels like every bit of this is up to interpretation. And I mean, even the title Weapons itself has multiple different meanings within the context of the film itself. I'll speak on that more towards the end, but right now I really want to talk about the performances because they were incredible. So we shift through, I think, 6 different perspectives. One, Justine, who's played elegantly by Julia Garner. Between Weapons, Fantastic Four, and Wolfman, she's really doing her big one in the Big 25. And if you want to stop her,
you're gonna have to fucking kill me!
And her character kind of gets the short end of the stick as she's treated like a punching bag amongst the community because all of this shit happened in her classroom. Then moving on to Josh Brolin's character, who plays Archer. From his perspective, it's very much like a Prisoners-esque section of the film where he's basically saying, where's my, not daughter, son? But as a new father myself, I found myself really relating to his position and this overwhelming guilt of like, oh, I didn't say this enough. I didn't do enough to protect my own kid. So I'm going to make up for that double time now because we got to get to the bottom of where the fuck these kids are. And the way that he bumps head with Julia Garner's Justine is mwah. The dynamic between each of these actors is perfect. And we got my guy Alden Ehrenreich, who plays Paul, a cop who's not the best person that I feel like they were going to be touching on a little bit more. Pause. Then we get, which I think is my favorite section, James's section, who's played by Austin Abrams. Bro, he brought like this funny ass vibe. He reminded me of Jay from Jay and Silent Bob, but like his whole section of the movie had my theater dying from laughter. Like, he was the comedic relief for sure, but he's actually really essential to the plot, hence why he got his own perspective. Then we shift over to Marcus, who's played by Benedict Wong, and that's where shit really starts to unravel, all leading up to, and that's all I'm going to say about that. But all of these perspectives and storylines crescendo in the most bombastic, batshit fucking crazy ending you're ever gonna see in a fucking horror movie. Or recent, not ever, but like, you know what I mean. I like to embellish. I'm hyperbolic. I don't care. It's very much playing in that realm of Barbarian, Malignant, Longlegs. It's just something so out of left field you're never gonna see it coming, like a Randy Orton RKO out of nowhere. Watch out, watch out! And real quickly, I want to talk about the cinematography because while it's not like the most dynamic cinematography, it's very much Zach Cregger's style. He loves his backshot, third-person POV, long takes, aka oneers, following a character walking, doing something. That was very prevalent in Barbarian. But I also really like the way he pans cameras in certain ways, and his extreme wides are really interesting to look at because it just creates this sense of like paranoia and fear at us ourselves as the audience. How are we gonna react? Fight or flight? Are we gonna become weapons ourselves, like the characters in this movie. It's really interesting and thought-provoking stuff. It all just creates this very eerie and like spine-tingling atmosphere that makes you feel claustrophobic, especially with the fucking score, which by the way, it's used sparingly, but when it is, And that's what I really like. He's not afraid to go scoreless in some scenes. That really just lets you lock the fuck all the way in. My forehead was in the damn screen damn near. And it just enhances the experience even more. But what I really want to talk about here is the themes of this movie, because I've seen a lot of people say that it's really not about anything, and I couldn't disagree more. Because like I said before, it's an exploration of human nature at its darkest core. We're talking about violence, trauma, addiction, and how it all intertwines into this domino effect of a batshit crazy ending. This is a full breakdown on society and how we react to these type of situations, and honestly at times, it kind of dances around the subject of, school shootings. But it really challenges your perspective and holds up a mirror to your face to be like, what would you do in this situation? What are your morals? What really is good versus evil when you're dealing with a situation like this? I mean, there's plenty of movies that I watch and I'm like, oh yeah, it really ain't even that deep. But then there's that one moment that smacks you in the face and you're like, oh shit, I didn't even realize that's what this was about the whole time. Am I really about to have to rethink everything I just watched? Absolutely, and Weapons does that to a T. Every single perspective, every single journey these characters take are about something much bigger, about how we as a society are broken in ways that we don't even want to admit. And this movie really calls a lot of us out. And I really appreciate it for that. But that's not to say this is like a perfect movie or anything. It does kind of drag at times, and you'll see what I mean by that. Like, there are certain perspectives that didn't really click for me personally. But like I said, once we get to that final culmination of all of these different perspectives, and bro, it's like, I'm telling you right now, you can't guess what it is. Like, I couldn't even guess it. And usually I'm the one that's like, oh, look at that. I bet that has something to do with what happens later on. No, that shit does not happen. But I'm telling you right now, if you're looking to have a great experience at the theater, watch this with a packed crowd, watch Weapons this weekend. I'm telling you right now, you will not be disappointed. I also really like what it has to say about communities, and like specifically more like small communities in general, and like our society and the way we protect each other. But really, we only give a shit about ourselves. That's made abundantly clear in multiple scenes where it's like this person clearly only gives a shit about their lives, does not give a fuck what happens to anyone else. Even though it's 17 kids that went missing. It's an entire community that is affected by this tragedy. And yet we each selfishly only think about ourselves and react specifically in that way, which again speaks to the human nature of how we all affect. I'm telling you right now, it's deeper. Go beneath the surface. I'm really not trying to say this to be an asshole to people that said that this movie really isn't about anything. Like, if you interpreted it that way, that's fine. There's plenty of times where I watch a movie and I'm like, oh, that's really ain't about nothing. But then I see other people's perspectives on it and it changes my perspective. And when I rewatch a movie, I'm like, oh, I get what you're trying to say now. And that's probably the best way I could talk about this movie without having, like, dog, I haven't even spoiled the craziest shit that happens in this movie yet. And I'm so excited for y'all to experience this for the first time, because honestly, it's not gonna work for everyone. I know that for sure. Like, just like Barbarian, Malignant, the movies I mentioned before, there's gonna be people that just don't like this at all. They don't vibe with it. That's fine. But for the freaks like me and you out there, you're gonna eat this shit up. You're gonna eat shit up. I ended up giving Weapons 4 out of 5 stars on Letterboxd, but I'm really curious to hear your thoughts. You're gonna be checking out Weapons this weekend, and if you've already seen it, drop a comment down below. And as always, like and follow for more.